Hey, well, good morning, church. Would you stand and sing with us this morning? So your word is a lamp unto my feet, and your way is the only way for me. It's a narrow road that leads to life, but I wanna be on it. It's a narrow road, but the mercy's wide, 'cause you're good on your promise. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I believe it. I've seen how good it works. If you started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. You spoke, and the chaos fell in line. And I know, 'cause I've seen it in my life. It's a narrow road that leads to life, but I wanna be on it. It's a narrow road, but the tide is high, 'cause you're parting the waters. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good David. I'm the worship pastor here. And man, we have such an exciting morning planned for us. We're going to be unveiling some pretty cool things as we are embarking or coming up on our 75th birthday. But for right now, we're going to just keep continuing singing about the faithfulness of God. So would you just continue singing with us here this morning? So Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand when everything around me is shaking. And I'll never be more glad that I put my faith in Jesus, 'cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. Sing, I've still got joy in chaos, and I've got peace that makes no sense. So I won't be going under. I'm not held by my own strength, 'cause I built my life on Jesus, and he's never let me down. He's faithful in every season. So why would he fail now? He won't. on you. Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. When everything around me is shaking, oh, I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. 'Cause He's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would He fail now? You are. You won't fail. You won't He won't fail. He won't fail. No, He
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. And all my life you have been faithful. And all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest nights. You are close like no other. I've known you as a father. Oh, I've known you as a friend. And I have joining us in worship, go ahead and have a seat and take a look at the screens.
Good morning, Neighborhood Church, and thanks for hanging out with us today. If you're new, we'd love to meet you. Scan the QR code on the seat in front of you to fill out a Connect card, and come see us outside at the Next Lounge after this service for a free gift. We'd also like to answer any questions that you may have and help you take a next step with us. Ladies, this week is your last chance to get tickets for Restore. The Restore Women's Conference is a space where women from every walk of life can come together to be inspired, supported, and surrounded in community. There will be worship, breakout sessions, local vendors, food, and more. We've also invited Jeannie Stevens, a communicator, author, and pastor at Soul City Church from Chicago. Get your tickets today at the Restore table outside or by scanning the QR code on the seat in front of you. Thank you for giving to the mission of Neighborhood Church. Your generosity is what helps us inspire people wherever they are to live like Jesus wherever they go. When we share our resources together, Jesus makes a huge difference in our city and our lives. You can give online at ncvisalia.com/give, text NC Visalia to 77977, or give using the drop boxes in the back of the room. Thank you again. And now let's check out today's teaching.
Second service, how we doing? Fantastic, fantastic. Well, I know many of you are aware that we're unveiling like big news today, and that's true. It's true. In fact, you know, I made a little reel, if you saw that on the social media, and hey, come to church, it's going to be a big announcement. And, you know, I got the first text I got, I'm not kidding, just says, oh, so you're finally leaving? So I will tell you, if that's what you're hoping for, you're still stuck with me. I apologize. Thanks. But today I really will share, I think, some news that is, I think has the potential to not just impact Neighborhood Church, but the city of Visalia, the county of Tulare, and really, I think, the whole of Central California. But before I reveal that news, I just wanted to take us back 75 years. I want to go back to the year 1948. And in 1948, the city of Visalia had a population of a whopping 11,000 people in 1948. And in 1948, though, it was a big year for us locally because the Summer Olympic Games were being held in London, and local boy Bob Mathias won the gold medal in the decathlon in the 1948 Games. But while Mathias is in London winning the gold medal, there was a young couple named Bob and Lucille Willems that felt like Jesus was inviting them into something really for them that would be brand new, a little bit scary even. And what they decided to do and what they felt like Jesus was inviting them into was to start like a kids club, like a little Bible study for the kids in the neighborhood. And they would have cupcakes and yard games and just the message of love that's most truthfully found in the person of Jesus of Nazareth. And they were doing that for a little bit, but something happened that they really didn't expect. And Jesus wasn't done with sort of this new movement in and through Bob and Lucille. And all of a sudden, the kids that were coming, their parents started showing up and said, hey, we want to be a part of whatever this is. And so pretty soon, it grew. Bob and Lucille, again, felt like Jesus was saying to say yes to that. And so they did. And pretty soon, this young couple, and I know they're not young here. This was taken when I hung out with them a little while ago. But this young couple had accidentally started a church. they accidentally said, there's sort of an early photo of neighborhood church and the kids and the parents, and right? And 2 years later, so 1948 is when all this starts. 2 years later, 1950, neighborhood church hires their first pastor, and they acquire our first building, which was actually an old tavern out on Highway 63. So kind of go to down Riggin. There it is. Actually, this is some guy's garage today. And in fact, you may not know this, but in our lobby, sort of centered, hanging in the lobby, is a For Visalia sign that's on like old tattered boards. Well, we went to the guy's house out on 63 and told him our story, and he let us just take boards off of his garage. And that sign, that For Visalia sign, is actually made on wood from Neighborhood Church's very first building. And this building, this old tavern, would be our home for the next 13 years. And tons of stuff happened in those 13 years. For example, non-stick pans got invented. There they are. TV remotes made an appearance. Anyone remember one of these kind of remotes? In the first service, it's a much older crowd, so everybody was like, yeah, I still have it, And you know what else happened in those 13 years? The 48 United States grew to the 50 United States of America, and we welcomed Alaska and Hawaii. And Walmart opened its doors for the very first time. But in 1963, when Martin Luther King Jr. is giving I Have a Dream speech, Neighborhood Church, to accommodate new growth, moved in to its new home on the corner of County Center and Walnut. And that would be our church home for 30 plus years. And so much happened in those 30 years. The first Super Bowl got played. Super Bowl I happened. The first Star Wars movie is released. Nerds unite. Just kidding. MTV went live. MTV went live, right? And the internet was born. But in 1997, when Harry Potter is being introduced into the world, people of Neighborhood Church realized that again, Jesus was doing something new and inviting them into something brand new. And what they did is they purchased about 19 acres of farmland out on the corner of Riggin and Acres. It's our current home. In 1997, the people of Neighborhood Church decided to make an unprecedented move, believing that Jesus was up to something brand new. And they wanted to step into whatever it was he was inviting them to do. And just 9 years, really, after we settled into our new home here at Riggin and Acres, Neighborhood Church again felt like Jesus was inviting us into something brand new. And this time it wasn't property or buildings. It was a relationship. A relationship with an elementary school and the families that make up the Houston neighborhood. A relationship that honestly, over the last 17 years, would come to define our posture as a church in the world. A relationship that would come to define our reputation in the city as a faith community that's for Visalia. A relationship that would come to say that for far too long the church has been known for what it's against. And Neighborhood, we're inviting you. We felt like Jesus was inviting us to flip that script and to become a church that reminded the world of what we were for, and that we were for people, like all the people, regardless of story or socioeconomic sort of layer, whatever it is, that we were going to be for people. Because Jesus is for people. And even if people never believe what it is we believe, we felt like Jesus was inviting us to say to them, we're going to believe in you, and we're going to do whatever we can together to add value to the place that we call home. And for 17 years, we've invested in the relationship in the Houston neighborhood. But again, it's been 17 years, and once more, we are feeling a nudge, right? A new invitation, if you will, from Jesus, that he's not finished with us, collectively and with us individually. That Jesus, once again, wants to do something new in and through us, that he is still unfinished. The work isn't finished yet. And as we turn 75 years old, and as I've considered our story, there's one thing that's held true for Neighborhood Church. It's really been our secret sauce for the last 75 years. And it's that the people of Neighborhood Church have been willing to say yes to the new thing Jesus wants to do in and through us. We look back over those 75 years, and again and again and again, the people that made up the church in those seasons had the faith and the courage to step into something brand new. And the question that's been on my mind as we celebrate 75 years and as we look to the next 75 years is, will we be like those who have come before us? And will we say yes to this new thing that Jesus is inviting us into? Will we model the same kind of faith and the same kind of courage and openness of those that have come before us? Will we step into the new thing that Jesus wants to do? This actually reminds me of something that God said to the ancient people of Israel when they were sort of on the cusp of a new reality. And here's what gets recorded, what they were hearing from God. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive? I love it. Like, are you open enough? Are you willing? Are you present enough to see that I'm about to do something new? That I'm going to usher you through a door and into a new season. Listen, at Neighborhood Church, we believe that Jesus, the invitation's here. That he wants to bring us through a new open door and usher us in really to a new season, new reality for us at Neighborhood. And I couldn't be more grateful for everything he's already done in and through Neighborhood Church over the past 75 years. But here's the thing. We are not done yet. We're not done. Jesus isn't done with us. We believe our work to be unfinished. So for the past year, and really for the past, call it 4 years, but definitely the last year, our staff and leadership board, we've been dreaming, we've been discerning, we've been praying, we've been perceiving, discovering what's next for Neighborhood. That this passage, Isaiah 43:19, God speaking to the ancient people of Israel, him saying, hey, I'm doing something new. Are you ready? Are you here for that? And us over the last year saying, yes, we want to be here for that. Jesus is about to do something brand new at Neighborhood Church. And today, we are finally ready, oh my gosh, finally ready to share what it's gonna look like. So are you ready? You wanna see? Yeah? Okay, right on. I mean, I'm gonna show you. You can definitely clap after. Let me show you. Take a look at our unfinished work.
In 2023, our church family is hitting a significant milestone. This year, we're celebrating the 75th birthday of Neighborhood Church. That's 75 years of community, 75 years of service to our city, 75 years of everyday, ordinary people coming together to live and love like Jesus. What started as just a small gathering of families in 1948 has grown into a thriving, diverse community, a family of Jesus people that has made a huge impact on the city of Visalia and beyond. It's honestly crazy for me to think that 75 years ago, this all began with cupcakes, volleyball, and conversation in one family's front yard. Today, Neighborhood Church is a whole lot bigger, but our mission is more or less the same, extending friendship and hospitality so others can meet Jesus. Each week, we reach thousands of people in our city, many of them completely new to Jesus. Through authenticity, inclusion, and restoration, Neighborhood Church continues to be a place that is for everyone, regardless of their story. Over the past 75 years, Jesus has worked through our church in huge ways, but we're not finished yet. This spring, as we celebrate everything that God has done through Neighborhood Church, we want to invite you to help write the next chapter in our story. What does that look like? Well, in many ways, it looks similar to what we've done all along, empowering the next generation, adding value to our community, and inspiring others to follow Jesus. In 2023, as we celebrate 75 years of Neighborhood Church, we want to invite you to partner with us as we continue our unfinished work.
For over 16 years, Neighborhood Church has partnered with families in the Houston community. We've crossed cultural and socioeconomic boundaries to build relationships and work together as neighbors to make life better for kids. And by partnering together with Houston School, we've mentored students and resourced families, hosted parties, sent students to college, and even built a park. The very park I'm standing in right now. We are so grateful for everything we've accomplished together with our Houston friends, but our work is unfinished. This year, we're celebrating the 75th birthday of Neighborhood Church, and we're marking this milestone with a radical fresh commitment of friendship with the Houston community. How? Well, we're literally going to move into the neighborhood, and we're inviting all of Neighborhood Church to partner with us as we launch the Neighborhood Community Center, a space where friendships are forged and our city is transformed. By investing directly in the Houston area, we are showing a commitment to our neighbors for generations to come.
Together, we are going to build a brand new state-of-the-art community center that will serve the Houston neighborhood with mentoring, after-school programs, classes, events, and more. This space will serve as home base for our continuing relationships and work with our Houston neighbors. This includes the Neighborhood Degree Project. Through coaching, resources, and one-on-one mentoring, we help young people from the Houston neighborhood get to and through a college or degree program of their choice. Many of them the first in their families to do so.
This community center is an extraordinary opportunity for Neighborhood Church to continue to be for Visalia. Our desire is to help lift the burden of poverty that has been a part of Visalia and Tulare County's story. And this is an enormous problem. I mean, did you know in Tulare County, almost 1 in 5 people live at or beneath the poverty line? That is 45% higher than the rest of the United States. And if we were to zoom in and look just at the Houston neighborhood, that data actually gets more shocking. 95% of our friends living in the Houston neighborhood live at or below the poverty line. Let me say that again, 95%. And 47% of the students who we work with who attend Houston Elementary are English language learners. This is an unnecessary burden that impacts our whole city and region. We know oftentimes following poverty is a whole host of other problems that don't just impact a certain neighborhood, but has consequences for everyone. In fact, we've never attempted a project on such an enormous scale, but we believe Jesus is inviting us to make a remarkable investment into our city. An investment that says we want more for you than we want from you. An investment that says we care about Visalia. An investment that is a tangible expression of our posture, that Jesus is the center of our faith. The community is the center of our life, and reconciliation is the center of our work. As we turn 75, we want to embark on a new season in our church unlike any other, one that will require openness to Jesus working deeply in us and through us in new levels of faith and generosity, asking Jesus to use Neighborhood Church as a powerful catalyst, advancing the love, care, and compassion of Jesus in our city. Unfinished work as a church family. But that's not all. We also want to continue to make space for people at home.
When Neighborhood Church started 75 years ago in Bob and Lucille Willems' front yard, the idea was actually pretty simple. Just make space for people. Hospitality has always been at the center of our mission. It's why we do parties, it's why we do events, it's really the heart behind every single Sunday gathering where we open up our doors and we open up our arms to our city to say, hey, you are welcome in this space. As we look forward to the next 75 years of Neighborhood Church, we want to continue to make space for people to meet Jesus. And that's why, as part of our unfinished work together, we're going to be renovating Room 1, the room right here behind me, into a brand new cafe and community space that will help us continue to be for Visalia. We're calling it The Commons.
At Neighborhood, community is the center of our life. The Commons is a new space we're creating to share with our city. By renovating existing space with others in mind, our campus will grow in its capacity to show hospitality and friendship. The renovation will also include a new cafe, communal space, and outdoor seating. As we continue to host more local events and organizations, we want to share as much ground as possible.
The Commons is also a place where community and discipleship will thrive. By creating more space for small groups, classes, labs, and workshops, we create a space for everyone to go, regardless of their story or their background. As we give ground to our city, we grow in our capacity to inspire people wherever they are to live like Jesus wherever they go.
You know, my friend Steve Harms used to always say that when they write the history book on Visalia, that if we've done our job right, they'll have to write a whole chapter about Neighborhood Church. 75 is a huge milestone. And as we look back on 7 decades, we're so grateful for all the ways God has moved through our church family. And these days are very much ahead of us. As we celebrate our 75th birthday, we're inviting all of Neighborhood Church to come together through radical acts of sacrificial generosity. We're calling it the Unfinished Campaign. Through our campaign initiatives and projects, we will ensure the Neighborhood Church continues to be at the forefront of Jesus' unfinished plans for the city of Visalia.
Pretty cool, yeah? Yeah. Hey, just really quick, what I'd like to do is just sort of zoom in again and just recap those 2 things that are 2 projects that we'd like to do. And again, the first is that Neighborhood Community Center. 4,500 square feet, 57 parking spaces, large group space, multi-purpose space, conference space, offices, I mean, the whole thing. And let me tell you, I know you don't know the story because I've never shared the story. But right before March 2020, right before the world shut down and we had to go into crisis management mode around here, the staff leadership team and the chairman of our leadership board, we went to the beach and we spent a couple of days there and we had a consultant with us and we just started dreaming and writing things down about the future of Neighborhood Church. And we wrote down, a couple of sentences that I've never shared, again, because as soon as we finished it, the world went crazy, crisis management, it was wild around here. But in 2020, February of 2020, here's what we wrote down at that retreat over in Los Osos. We envision a day when Neighborhood Church would be defined by our commitment to practicing the way of Jesus together in Visalia. We'll achieve this goal by empowering people to live a Jesus-centered life that leads to breaking the cycle of generational poverty that plagues our city and county, one family at a time. Now, I know that's kind of flowery, stuff you see on walls and offices and things like that. But in other words, here's what we're saying. We want our love for Jesus to be defined, demonstrated, and authenticated by how well we love others. That's what we want. And we chose the problem of generational poverty. We could have chosen lots of problems, but we chose generational poverty as our target, as the expression of our love for Jesus to go after generational poverty because over the last nearly 17 years of relationship with our friends in the Houston neighborhood, we've seen generational poverty again and again and again be the lid that keeps so many from ever fully developing their potential. And again, you heard me talk about the stats. 1 in 5 in Tulare County, right? Tulare County is the 3rd poorest county in California. 1 in 5 live at or below the poverty line. 51% higher than the Californian average. 45% higher than the national average in terms of people living in poverty. When we zoom in, 95% of our friends, 9.5 people out of every 10 people in the Houston neighborhood live at or below the poverty line. And again, we all know poverty is not just an individual problem. It's just not a neighborhood problem. Poverty comes with all sorts of problems for a city and a region. And it's not just about money. It impacts health and happiness and hope and crime. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on. And this is the situation that 95% of our friends in the Houston neighborhood are dealing with and struggling with generation after generation after generation. And so here's what we've been doing for 4 years. We've been doing our homework and talking to the pros and the experts and the industry. You know, we've just been, hey, how do we solve this problem effectively and efficiently? And the data is overwhelmingly clear. You do not do handouts. You provide resource and relationship. That's how you end generational poverty. Resource, right? It's knowledge, it's skills, it's opportunities. Relationships. You've all heard the phrase. You've all benefited from the phrase. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Yes, it's a cliche, but it's also so true. Your social networks determine how far you'll go and how much of your potential you can tap into. And this means that no matter what we do down in the Houston neighborhood, if relationship isn't a part of it, we just won't have the same kind of impact that we would if there was relationship. And our community center, what it does is it cements our relationship in the Houston neighborhood and provides a space to build relationships, know names, hear stories, grow in friendship. And listen, we are already, over 17 years, we've done so much. We are very busy down there. You may not know this, but we've got like a lunchtime mentoring program at Houston Elementary School. We call it Lunch Buddies. We lead a 6th grade leadership club for all of the kids at Houston. We host a fall soccer league in the park. We gathered up a bunch of parents. We started a parenting group called Juntos that meets weekly. We have annual events that we host, like Trunk or Treat or the Christmas store that many of you have been a part of. The neighborhood degree program. This is like, we started it right in the middle of COVID. Can't believe it like kind of went off, but this is our goal with the neighborhood degree program, is to work to get students to and through a college or trade school of their choice. Currently, we're serving 44 students, 18 of which are already in college. And what that means is 44 neighborhood people, 44 of you, are in a mentoring relationship with these students. That's 44 potential college graduates. Think about, and it's only a couple of years old. Think about the impact that can have on a neighborhood and beyond, right? That's why we're doing this. We're not building a community center so that we can start a bunch of projects. No, we're building a community center because after 17 years of relationship in the Houston neighborhood, we want to be neighbors and not just commuters. We're building a community center because, well, isn't that exactly what Jesus did? He moved in to the neighborhood. Jesus' best friend is a man named John. John's very old, he writes a biography of the life of Jesus. And here, early on in the biography, here's what John said about Jesus. He said, the Word, that's what he called Jesus, the Word of God, that's what he called Jesus, became flesh and blood and moved into the neighborhood. That's why we're building a community center. Because our faith necessarily invites us to do something like move in to the neighborhood. Our community center will give these projects a home and a place for relationships to grow. And with a home, we can expand projects as far as our imagination wants to take us. So that's project number one. That's the big one. Project number two, you heard us talk about the Commons. Again, remodel of room 1, expanding our coffee shop. Our current coffee shop will actually become what we call our next lounge. So our next lounge currently right now is outside on the patio. The next lounge will be moved into that space, and it'll be where kind of a hub for our guest service volunteers, and it will be a space for people to figure out what's next for them here at Neighborhood Church, right? Again, our outdoor space, I'm so excited about it. How many of you have been here on a food truck day? You've gotten your pizza, you've given your kids their food, and you're running around looking for a place to sit, and you're just holding your plate, right? Well, we want to give you a place to sit, right? So we're creating this outdoor space as well. And listen, we're actually, I mean, this is, don't like quote me or like this is like, for sure going to happen or anything. But right now we're actually even talking about what does it look like that this coffee shop becomes really something for the entire community, and it has expanded hours, and it's open not just on Sunday mornings and different things like that. So as our community grows all around us, I mean, could you imagine the amount of people that are going to live right here 10 years from now? I mean, it's just going to be bonkers around here. So again, the Commons, it just allows us to be better at what we already are trying to do, and that's just make space for people, because we believe that's the simplest way to change the world. We just want to make space for people. And so we're just renovating existing space with others in mind. Yeah. So here's the question. And I know some of you are asking it right now. Forrest, wow, great video. It was amazing. Love it all. It's so cool. Yeah, that seems expensive. How are we going to do that? Great question. In a word, together. Together, we're writing a story that's just bigger than you or I. A story that's going to outlive us. A story that's going to outlast us. A story that's going to out-impact us. A story that for 75 years has already been defined by being open to new invitations from Jesus. I love Neighborhood Church's story because it's just so easy to look back and see our church in the 40s, in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 90s, answering the question, what kind of story do we want to tell? What kind of story do we want to tell about Neighborhood Church? What kind of story do we want to tell about Jesus? What kind of story when we're old and gray? And I know for some of you, you're there, so well done. But what kind of story do we want to tell about our lives and the decisions we made and the impact we had? A story that's based on a collective heart for the people of our city. Before Bob and Lucille Willems passed, I was able to sit down with both of them and just hear their story and ask them, why would you do that? I don't like my neighbor's kids. I mean, why would you invite them to your house, like, regularly? Why would you do that? And just to hear their story and them talk about just feeling like that's what Jesus was inviting them to do, and they didn't know where it would lead, and they didn't know what else they were supposed to do, but, like, it was just so cool for me to hear their willingness to see the new thing that Jesus wanted to do in them and through them, and the courage they had to say, yes. I wish you were there. I just wish I could describe for you the humility and pride that was like coexisting in their eyes. It was awesome, especially after I told them what their one decision ended up doing. They didn't even know. They didn't know that Neighborhood had become this whole thing that's reaching thousands and all of that. They had no idea. And they were just so moved by me continuing the story for them and catching them up. And it was all because they made one decision, had the faith and courage to say yes to something they didn't know where it would end up, but they still said yes. I just think it's so, so cool. And you know what? I mean, that conversation, it impacted me. It really did. And I wake up every day with this profound sense that every decision we make as a church is going to be part of telling our collective story and the story of Jesus. That every decision we make will make much of Jesus or won't. Will impact our city or won't. And I pray often, like all the time often, that the decisions we make honor those that have come before us. I pray a lot that the decisions we make around here allow us to remain faithful to the part of the story that's already been written. And I pray that we're ever aware of our responsibility we have in continuing the story of what Jesus wants to do in and through Neighborhood Church. And I'm convinced that we're actually entering like the most exciting time ever that we may ever experience in our season here at Neighborhood Church. I really am. I've come to realize that what we're about to do is just like mind-blowingly cool, and here's why. Because long after you and I are gone, some kid's gonna walk into the neighborhood community center and the trajectory of their life's gonna be changed. Some kid's gonna walk in and they're gonna get help applying for college. They're gonna find a mentor that gives them hope and shows them how to take a next step in their journey. Maybe one of you will go to the Neighborhood Degree Center and learn Spanish. Or maybe a man or woman will walk in and we'll help them get a business license because that's going to be a part of the community center. Or a parent might show up and be a Spanish speaking only, but show up with their preschooler some mornings and learn English at the same time reading to their preschool child. Every class, everything we do is going to open the door to new opportunities, new friendships that we hope will help lead towards an end of this lid of generational poverty that really has plagued us as a county and a city for decades. And it'll allow us a space to introduce people to a Jesus that's always loved them and has a good plan for their life. And here's the thing. Those kids, those people that walk into the community center years and years and years from there, it's never going to dawn on them that on February 26th of 2023, there was some guy that sat up on a stage and told a bunch of people about what we're going to do. It's never going to dawn on them, right? They're never going to wonder, how much did this cost? Who paid for it? Like, how did it get here? No, that's never going to cross their minds. They will never talk about that. But their lives will still be impacted because we made a decision together and you made a decision personally to say yes to a new thing that Jesus was doing, a decision that we can all be proud of, a decision that honors those that have come before us, a decision to just simply love where we live, a decision that someday, I hope, when I'm older, I'm able to sit down with my grandkids and tell them the story of what we did together here at Neighborhood Church. And then I could be able to put them in the car, drive down to the Neighborhood Community Center and say, our family helped build this. That's part of our story. That our family, we sacrificed money and time and energy to help be a part of this thing that Jesus wanted to do through Neighborhood Church. Oh, it's just such a big deal, isn't it? Like a really big deal. It's bigger than you. It's way bigger than me. It's about future and future generations. It's about our city. It's about our Jesus and growing in our capacity to tell the story of his love. So, with that said, let's just talk money, yeah? You want to talk numbers? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's not shy away from it. 2.9 million. To give you some, actually, if you were here 5 years ago when we built the kids space, that cost us almost 5. So this is a pretty tame project. The actual projects will cost less than this. Some of this is we were actually hoping to raise more to pay down some current debt from the kids space and new parking lots and all of that we built. Maybe think of it this way, 2.9. You know what we're doing with 2.9 million? We're celebrating our birthday by gifting our city a community center. That's how we're, oh man, you know what I think about? I think about how I just wish every church would do this and how so many churches are not doing it. I'm just so proud to be a part of a church that says, you know how we're going to celebrate 75 years? We are going to, in ways we've never even dreamed of before, step into the middle of our city and say, we want to be part of the solution and not just the people that complain on the Nextdoor app, right? We think Jesus' love necessarily says, go help, go make a difference. And it's big, and here's our goal. It's not, we're not trying to raise that tomorrow, we're trying to raise it over 3 years. And our goal actually isn't like, okay, now, if you want to come back, you have to, give this. We're not, no. But we do want 100% of you to be a part of it. Because I want you to be a part. I don't want you to miss this. I want you to be able to take your grandkids down there too and say, we helped build that. It's 100% participation. It's not about the size of the gift. It's about jumping in and being a part, even if it's a small way. Here's how a small way works. I actually did some research on this. Let's just take Starbucks for example. I know it's the sensitive subject. Starbucks figured this out. The average Starbucks customer spends $3.79 a day. Now, for some of you, that's not even your first coffee of the day. And you're doing 2 a day because you can't make it to 5 o'clock without a 2 o'clock coffee. So so the average Starbucks customer in a year, $1,300. The average Starbucks over a 3-year period of time, you're knocking on $4,000. And these are pretty conservative numbers for some of you, right? So just walk with me through this. What if you cut out 2 days worth of Starbucks a week and reinvested the money? I know, that's for some of you, like literally asking for blood. I do know that. But what if that, so it's $7.48 a week you reinvested. In a year, that's almost $400. And in 3 years, you're knocking on $1,200 that you've reinvested into making our city a better place and spreading the love of Jesus. And honestly, over a 3-year period of time, that's you making a monthly pledge of $32.85. And for the vast majority of you in this room, if you automate that, you will never even know it's coming out of your bank account. But over 3 years. So you see 2.9 million, it's like, whoa, it's a big number. But 100% participation of people just making small sacrifices. I mean, there's more than 2,000 people. I mean, it's like, there's a lot of people. I mean, there's no seats in this room, right? There's a lot of people in here. Small sacrifice to be a part of something so much bigger than you over 3 years. 2.9 is actually not that big of a number. And listen, you don't have to make the decision today. I get it. Like, you're going, whoa, like, some of you, it's like your first time ever at church, and you're going, oh, I know it. They just want my money. I know, I'm sorry. But I really don't want your money. I want to give your money away. I want to reinvest it in the city of Visalia. I tried to convince our board, say, listen, if we raise 2.9, I really feel like I should get a cut off the top. They said no. So it's really 100% of this is going to be turned around and invested in our city. So here's what's going to happen. I'm already so late, and your kids are probably screaming, and our volunteers are losing their mind and very angry with me. But just start praying. Just start praying. How does Jesus want you to be a part of this? This week, you're going to receive a packet in the mail filled with all kinds of fun, pretty things to look at and read and all of that. That's the envelope you'll get in the mail. If you don't get it in the mail, because whatever, maybe we don't have your address or anything like that, don't worry, we'll have some packets next Sunday that you can grab. I want you to commit to show up for the next 4 weeks. Our unfinished series, we kind of just continue to unpack. And then next Sunday is actually a really big Sunday. So yes, we'll continue our unfinished series, but Sunday night, we're doing a worship and prayer night, because this has to be not just about what God's doing through us, but inviting Jesus and us being open to what Jesus wants to do in us. And so we're going to do just a night of prayer and worship, and we're going to start next Sunday night a 21 days of prayer campaign. So we're kind of doing the Raise the Money campaign, but we also want to do a prayer campaign. For 21 days, just going to invite all of us to just pray together and develop that habit. I want you to register for a vision night. There's like QR codes, back of your seats, all of that. You can sign up. The website's live. You can go to the website and read all about it and see all the stuff. But your QR code. The vision nights, we're hosting 3 of them. It's just smaller gatherings. We can only say so much in this room. And so if you have your questions and you're like, hey, what about and what if? And tell me more about that. That's where that's going to happen. We'd love for you to come be a part of that. On the 19th, we want you to show up at Houston Park at 4 p.m., and we're just going to pray in the park. We're going to pray in the park. And our friends from the Houston neighborhood, they're really amazing cooks, and they're going to be doing homemade tortillas and a salsa bar at 4. So even if you're like, I don't pray, just show up. It'll be awesome. And then we'll talk about why you're not praying. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And then March 26th, that's where all of this comes together. March 26th, that's our birthday party. We're going to throw a huge party, all the things, right? It's just going to be crazy. But in here, the hour you're in here, that's also Commitment Sunday. That's when, if you haven't already done it online, we're going to ask for a pledge card. And you say, this is how my family's going to be involved in this. This is how I'm personally going to be involved in this. And here's my like one and only gift, or here's like what I want to give over 3 years and all of that. Like, so that's the 26th. So don't ditch that. Don't do that. I'll know. I will know if you are not here. Listen, I know I've covered a lot. We gotta get going, but I wanted to do something kind of different to wrap this up today. Because I've been praying a prayer already. And it's a borrowed prayer. It's a prayer that's 1,300 years old. An Irish poet wrote it. And we later turned it into a song. But it's a song that the earliest members of Neighborhood Church would have sung regularly. I mean, it would have been like one of their favorite worship songs. And this poem, this prayer, it's really just the author writing, Jesus, in everything, I want you to be my vision. Jesus, in everything, I want you to be my wisdom. Jesus, in everything, I want you to be my best thought, day and night. And it is just such a powerful poem, a prayer, a song. And so I thought, as we kind of kick this thing off, that we could just sing that poem together, sing that song together. And it's weird. It's old and it's a hymn. It's not like a lot of drums and all that. It's a little bit more mellow. But it is, for me, one of the most powerful words in the Christian tradition. And I thought, as we start something so bold and innovative and creative and challenging, and I thought we should probably remind ourselves that Jesus needs to be our vision, wisdom, and best thought through this all. Not just for what we're going to do collectively, but what we want Jesus to do in our hearts individually. And I also wanted to sing this song to honor those that have come before us, because for 75 years, people have made sure Jesus was their North Star here at Neighborhood Church. And we have some lofty shoulders to stand on that allow us the freedom to do something so crazy and give our city such a big birthday present. So would you mind standing with me? And I want to sing a song that for many of you, you might know, called Be Thou My Vision. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you. Man, this is so big, and I just feel so honored to be a part of this Neighborhood Church family during this season. And that we want to be a people who do perceive, who do see the new thing you're wanting to do. Jesus, help us make sure this is never about us, but that you're our vision, you're our wisdom, and you are our very best thought.
Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart. Not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou purpose
Amen? Hey, I know you probably have a million questions, and we just dropped so much on you, and you're like, Forrest is insane. We've got like an FAQ sheet if you want to grab that. It's got a QR code. Don't forget, ladies, the Restore Conference you can sign up for, and our prayer team is down front if you just need somebody to kind of be with you right now. So anyway, love you guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.